Thank you for the opportunity to get to tell my story. I'll just say right off the top, I'm not a public speaker, but I have a story to tell. And I think the key here is it's a journey, and there's a long, long way to go. And I echo Janet in the nobody's perfect, but you just got to keep at it. And that's what leadership's about. So what I want to take you to is Partners in Prevention, the NSLC Team of Doers, the journey to change, the partnerships, participation, support, buy-in from the entire corporation and other stakeholders. Then we created the focus, the vision, and the goals. From there, we had to do the communication, workshops, education, training, and development. And then it's the commitment. That's the big one. As being a leader, you have to show the commitment. Some successes early, but we got a long way to go, right? And it's about the sustainability, right? And this is it's interesting when Doell speaks of how long he's been on the journey. It never ends. And how do you keep it sustainable and how do you keep it going, right? So for me, the first part of the journey for me was, I got to involve more than just supervisors. This was something where every employee has an opinion around safety. So it was getting every employee involved. So, because safety is a topic that everyone has an opinion. So on the way in, and I don't know if you saw the little desk, there was a PWI, Preventing Workplace Injury Survey. That's what laid out all the groundwork, created the gap analysis. So if you didn't pick one up on the way in, grab one, because that's what started this whole process. I noticed it sitting on the table right beside the new strategy document. There's the PWI sitting right there. And that was the gap analysis, because we reached out to the workforce. It wasn't from the top down. We got out to the workforce, and we got 100% engagement on the survey. They wanted to talk about safety. Jeff Brett's here today, and he was a big part of that, right? When you member safety for NSGU, and that's the local that we're under. So it was, great involvement from everybody. The partnership, participation, support, and buy-in from the entire corporation, top down. Blessed by our president and CEO, Brett Mitchell. I'm the champion of the initiative because the DC was a great little pilot project, but we have an entire corporation. We're in 106 retail outlets. We have an agency store network, right? We have over 2,000 on-premise, what we call licensees. So this is only the beginning. This is like the iceberg. We're just the small tip of this, but there's a whole bunch of opportunity there. Internal Occupation Health and Safety Team, provincial and warehouse safety committees. As I spoke about, NSGU Union Sublocal President was actively involved in every meeting. The big one was the Team of Doers. The Team of Doers were hand-picked from the floor. They were clerical, they were warehouse workers, they were from every shift. We run 24 hours a day, 6 days a week. So we had to get engagement. So we set different schedules, we got people involved different ways, we went to different shifts, we went across shifts, right? And definitely the biggest partner in this was WCB. Special thanks to our workplace safety consultant, Bob Westhaver. He was with me the whole way, the lockstep. So he opens his dialogue or his presentation. He says, okay, everybody out there, raise your hands who want to get hurt at work today. Oh, geez, nobody raised their hands, how come? And that's how we started the engagement at every meeting, right? And that's what, nobody wants to come to work and get hurt. So that's what it was about. So we talked about the focus, the vision, and the goals, right? So it was great. It fits right into the NSLC 5-year strat plan, which is on our website. Underneath the people pillar, there's 2 key strategies. Establish a 2-way communication, engagement, and a commitment to responsiveness. Take a leadership role in promoting workplace safety, ensuring a healthy workplace. So great fit. And this is how the first presentation back to the executive from the Team of Doers linked it right back to the strategy. So the buy-in was there. So from there, the Team of Doers needed a vision. And I'm going to read you their vision. This is from the floor employees, right? This is earlier on. And Sarah Murphy, who is is the clerical support in the DC, she went through the whole visioning strategy, and until she presented again to the executive 18 months later, it finally started to make sense. So we are leaders in a positive safety culture through responsible partnerships, respect, training, communication, and commitment. And this is from the floor. That was the Team of Doers, and that's the whole thing with the Team of Doers, right? So going back to that PWI, we had to do our gaps. We established goals, and the goals were established from the employee feedback. Where are our gaps and what the employees know on the floor? You know, the first one was to enhance, you know, if the bad thing happens, how do we stay at work, right? How do you, you know, that lost time accident, how do you turn that into a stay at work, return to work, right? Incident investigation, you saw that earlier, right? Big one. Another one was understanding informal and formal hazard in the workplace. Enhance the safety committee's effectiveness. And Jeff knows this well, being the safety officer, we spent a lot of time working that safety committee, so it was a working, fully participating safety committee. Educate the staff on core elements of the safety management system. We're a CZ 1000, like, you know, we've got a great big binder, right? But the person on the floor doesn't know what's in that binder, right? It's a great management system, but geez, I don't even know what the binder looks like, right? So that was a big one. But all these 5 sub-goals led to our big goal, which was to reduce lost time incidents in the DC. And it was about, you know, return to work, start at work, and if it's the bad thing happens, right, you know, what do we want to reduce that. So the communication, the workshops, and education, training, and development, right? So we started with shift starters. Every shift, right, for 5 minutes, just talked about where we're at. Communicate. We do town halls. Jeff's been involved in town halls. We've had the WCB in town halls. We've done a lot of one-on-ones with the supervisors, the lead hands. A lot of written communication, right? You know, the memo, you know, sometimes effective, sometimes not. One thing that we've continued on with is toolbox talks. And the toolbox talks is simply as, what's the hottest safety ticket out there today? Let's create a talk about it, and let's share it amongst all the employees. You get the employees involved. You get the employees to do it, right? We had no less than 7 formal workshops where we got involvement from key stakeholders from the WCB on, you know, educating the workplace. We had lots of subcommittee meetings, you know, to feed the team of doers. Hands-on training that's still going on today. Informal and formal warehouse walks. It is part of the structure now. Everybody has a right to stop the process. And the last but not least, communicate, right? It's a tough one. The big one is the commitment, right? And we always hear the buzzwords, you know, walk the talk, you know, lead by example. But the commitment for me was that I'm going to take this on. It's a huge engagement opportunity for me, right, to get to know the staff at a different level. So I committed over the last 18 months, we met as a team of doers every 2 weeks, every second Friday, Bob Westhaver, myself, and the team. And we're there as facilitators, we're there to remove roadblocks, to education, getting involved in subcommittees, and that's what it's about. That's the true leadership, is getting involved at that level. Whether there was, you know, and Bob kids with me, whether we had to come in Friday night at 11 o'clock to a shift starter or Saturday morning at 7 a.m., right? Because running 3 shifts, we had to make sure the message was consistent and the same across every shift, right? And it was about supporting that team, that person that stepped up from that shift, or those 2 people, that they had the support, you know, because I'm not the speaker, they're not the speaker, but they need support to get through it, right? Always making the time for employees when they wanted to chat. It was interesting when Bob first came into the warehouse, and they got to know Bob a little bit, because he spent a lot of time just understanding our processes, and they opened up to him, and then they start to open up, and it created some great two-way dialogue. And like I said, Bob, our workplace consultant, had no biases but safety, right? So there was no argument, whether it was coming from me, or if it was coming from the union, or if it was coming from, you know, HR. It was, the theme was safety, and it was about what are we going to do about making your workplace safe. So the success, we okay for time? We good? Okay, the success, I'll try to speed it up a bit. We were recognized as, in the NSLC newsletter that goes out corporate-wide, as the Team of Doers. Huge success from Stuart McLean. It was the first outside attendee to one of our town halls, which is a head office, and he presented the Team of Doers with a letter of recognition, and this is his opening statement. The WCB of Nova Scotia Integrated Service Team is very pleased to recognize the NSLC as a safety leader. We have no less than 28 documented accomplishments that we share with the staff. Our year-end results in 2012, we saw a 37% reduction in lost time incidents, 73% reduction in lost time days, and 87% reduction in lost time claim costs. We're maintaining our results definitely not where I want them to be. I'll be open and honest. I think it's still a journey, and I see that as we just, you take your finger off the pulse a little bit, right? It'll shift. It'll go another way. You got to stay actively involved. The big thing is employees are actively involved in making their workplace a safer place. So, sustainability. The Team of Doers themselves are still there as a team, but we're not meeting now because it was about the process with the Team of Doers. Now it's handing it off to the workforce. So we continue to educate the workforce through the IRS system. We provide tools for the supervisors and the employees, right? Whether it's documents, whether they're getting involved in the formal, informal hazard ID checks, there's all kinds of tools we put in place. We followed it up with what we call a daily safety walk, which rolls up to a weekly safety walk that rolls up to me, right? So there's always tools out there. We actively involve employees in any changes, big or small, and I think that's the key. Everybody has a voice. Sometimes in a big audience like this, the voice won't come through, so you've got to engage them with at different levels. And the big one, and we saw it, was the trust, is build long-lasting, trusting relationships, and we're a long way from that. We've still got a lot of people that we're still building that trusting relationship. So, in closing, I would like to say, the beauty of this program is available today. I didn't reinvent the wheel, right? I got the PWI survey, and that was the starting point. WCB has all the tools, right? They hand you the tools, but you get your team to take those tools and work them into your workplace, right? So you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? But with any change effort, right, if there is no buy-in from the top and bottom, a dedicated, committed champion, and employee engagement and involvement, you will not succeed. So in closing, I'd like to say that whether, we can engage at a different level or you want to seek me out, I'd love to talk more about it. We're, like I said, long way to go, but thank you for the opportunity to tell my story.
Good.